Imagine this scenario playing out tomorrow morning. You are standing in the middle of a chaotic airport terminal, holding your boarding pass and your ID, exhausted from standing in a security line that has already stretched to 2.5 hours. You are checking your watch, worrying about missing your flight, when you look up and see something that feels completely wrong for a civilian airport. You see men and women in heavy tactical vests patrolling the line. You look closer at their badges, expecting to see TSA or maybe local police, but the badges don't say TSA. They say ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They are standing at the terminal entrances, they are flanking the security checkpoints, and they are watching the exit lanes. And then one of them steps out of the patrol line, locks eyes with you, and asks a question that stops your heart. Where are you from? And what is your legal status in the United States? What do you do in that moment? Do you have to answer? Can they ask you that when you are just flying domestically to visit your grandmother? Can they check your immigration status right there in the security line? Can they detain you in front of your family? This is not a hypothetical what-if scenario. This is the reality that is unfolding across the United States starting tomorrow, Monday, March 24th, 2026, following direct confirmations from President Trump on social media and border czar Tom Homan on live television. Hundreds of federal immigration agents are being deployed to domestic airports to take over security duties. This is a fundamental shift in how we travel, and it requires you to be more prepared than you have ever been before. Welcome to U.S. Green Card Signal. My goal today is not to spread fear, but to arm you with the facts and strategies you need to navigate this new environment safely. We are facing a situation where the rules of travel are changing overnight, and by the end of this broadcast, you will be more prepared than 99% of the travelers walking blindly into any airport tomorrow. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down exactly what is happening in Washington that caused this, why ICE is involved in airport security, what your constitutional rights are when you face a federal agent, and the 5 critical steps you must take before you even think about packing your bags this week. Stay with me, because what you don't know could cost you your trip or your freedom. To understand the gravity of tomorrow morning, we have to look at the timeline of how we got here, because this situation escalated with terrifying speed over the weekend. It began on Saturday, March 22nd, when President Trump posted a series of messages on Truth Social that sent shockwaves through the aviation industry. He stated clearly that if the Democrats in Congress did not immediately agree to fund the Department of Homeland Security, he would authorize the movement of ICE agents into the nation's airports to manage the crisis. Hours later, the rhetoric intensified. He posted, "I look forward to moving ICE in on Monday and have already told them to get ready. No more waiting, no more games." Then came a second post that fundamentally shifted the nature of this deployment. And I want to be very careful and precise here because I am quoting the President of the United States directly. This is a matter of public record. In his post, the President specifically wrote that these ICE agents would conduct the immediate arrest of all illegal immigrants who have come into our country, with a heavy emphasis on specific nationalities, explicitly naming Somalia and other regions. I am reporting this to you as an immigration analyst. Whether you agree with the policy or not, you must understand the operational reality it creates. This is no longer just about helping move the lines faster. This is an enforcement operation taking place inside domestic travel hubs. If you or your family members are from any country, whether it is an African nation, a South Asian country, a Latin American nation, or a Muslim majority country, and you are traveling this week, you are entering a heightened surveillance environment. Even if you are a U.S. citizen, if you fit a certain profile, the risk of being stopped for questioning has just skyrocketed. I will tell you exactly how to handle that in a moment. The confirmation of this plan came on Sunday morning when Tom Homan appeared live on CNN's State of the Union. He did not mince words. He confirmed, "We will be at airports tomorrow helping TSA move those lines along." He explained that he is coordinating this massive deployment with the director of ICE and the TSA administrator. But while the stated goal is to assist with logistics, the presence of armed enforcement officers changes the dynamic of the airport entirely. A Department of Homeland Security spokesperson later told CBS News that the president is using every tool available to assist American travelers, and Vice President J.D. Vance added on social media that ICE would bring sanity to our airports. So, let me be crystal clear so there is no confusion. This is not a rumor on the internet. This is a confirmed federal operation. ICE is going to airports tomorrow. The question we all need to answer is, what happens when they get there, and how does it affect you? To understand why ICE agents, who are trained to deport people, are being sent to check boarding passes, you have to understand the disaster that is the current DHS shutdown. The Department of Homeland Security has been unfunded and shut down for 36 days. This crisis began on February 14th when Congress failed to pass a budget. The root of this failure goes back to a tragic incident on January 24th in Minneapolis, where federal agents were involved in a shooting that resulted in the deaths of 2 United States citizens, Renee Good and Alex Prey. That incident triggered a massive political standoff. Senate Democrats drew a line in the sand, stating they would not vote to fund the Department of Homeland Security unless Republicans agreed to a list of 11 major reforms for ICE and Border Patrol. These reforms are significant. They include requiring judicial warrants before agents can enter private homes, mandating body cameras for all officers, banning the use of face masks during enforcement raids, prohibiting operations near sensitive locations like schools and hospitals, and guaranteeing immediate access to legal counsel for anyone detained. Republicans have rejected these demands, arguing they would hamstring law enforcement. This disagreement has led to 5 failed Senate votes. The most recent vote, on Friday, March 20th, failed 47 to 37. Even a compromise bill to fund just the TSA to get the airport workers paid while fighting over ICE was blocked. This political gridlock has created a humanitarian crisis for the workforce that keeps us safe. Over 50,000 TSA officers, the people in the blue shirts who scan your bags, are working without pay. They have missed 2 paychecks. More than 400 of them have quit in just the last few weeks. The call-out rate, the number of agents calling in sick because they can't afford gas to drive to work, hit a record 10.22% on March 17th. The impact on the ground is catastrophic. At Houston Hobby Airport, more than half the scheduled staff did not show up on a single day. At Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson, the world's busiest airport, nearly 40% of the workforce was absent last Wednesday. As a result, wait times at Atlanta hit 2.5 hours today, on a Sunday, typically a manageable travel day. At Houston Bush, the wait was over 2 hours. At JFK in New York, it was 80 minutes. The acting deputy administrator of the TSA, Adam Stahl, issued a warning that every senior traveler needs to hear. He said, "It is not hyperbole to suggest that we may have to quite literally shut down airports, particularly smaller ones, if call-out rates go up." He described a workforce in despair, noting that some officers are sleeping in their cars in the airport parking lots because they cannot afford the commute home, or are donating blood plasma just to buy groceries. These are the people tasked with finding bombs and weapons, and they are exhausted, hungry, and unpaid. And this brings us to the great irony of this deployment. The government's solution to unpaid TSA agents is to send in ICE agents. But unlike the TSA, ICE is fully funded. ICE received a separate appropriation of $75 billion last summer through a different legislative act. So the ICE agents patrolling the terminal tomorrow are getting their full paychecks, while the TSA agents they are standing next to are working for free. It creates a tension and a morale crisis that makes the airport a very volatile place to be right now. Now, we arrive at the core question that every single person watching this video needs answered. What can these ICE agents actually do when they encounter you at the airport? We need to break this down into 3 specific areas: where they will be, what they are supposedly doing, and what legal power they hold over you. First, let's talk about location. Based on Tom Homan's statements, these agents will be positioned in the public side of the airport. This means they will be at the curb where you get dropped off, at the terminal entrances, managing the winding queues for the security checkpoints, and guarding the exit lanes where passengers leave the secure area. They will face every single traveler who enters the building. They act as the first line of contact. Second, let's look at their official role. The administration claims they are there to be a force multiplier. The idea is that if ICE agents handle the crowd control, the ID checks, and the bin return, then every available TSA officer can be put on an X-ray machine or a body scanner to speed up the process. Homan admitted on CNN, "I don't see an ICE agent looking at an X-ray machine because they're not trained in that." However, there is massive confusion even within the government about this. On the same morning, Homan said that Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy went on ABC News and claimed that ICE agents would run the machines because they run the same type of machines at the southern border. This is factually incorrect. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, runs the border. ICE handles investigations and deportations inside the country. They are different agencies with different training. This leads to a serious safety concern. Under federal law, aviation security screening must be performed by trained, certified personnel. TSA officers spend months learning to detect improvised explosive devices, disassembled weapons, and artfully concealed threats. An ICE agent is trained to arrest people and enforce immigration law. They are not trained to spot a non-metallic explosive on a scanner screen. The TSA union president, Everett Kelly, issued a blistering statement today saying TSA officers deserve to be paid, not replaced by untrained armed agents who have shown how dangerous they can be. He warned that you cannot simply improvise aviation security. This brings us to the third and most critical part: legal authority. This is the part that affects your civil rights. ICE agents have the authority to enforce federal immigration laws anywhere within the United States. That authority does not vanish just because they are standing next to a Delta Airlines check-in kiosk. The president's directive explicitly mentioned arresting undocumented immigrants at airports. We have to be honest about what this means for profiling. While the official statement mentioned specific nationalities like Somalia, history shows us that enforcement often casts a wide net. Data from Customs and Border Protection shows that travelers from Muslim-majority countries, South Asian nations, and Latin American countries are disproportionately selected for secondary screenings and device searches. If you look like what an agent thinks an immigrant looks like, or if you speak with an accent, you are at a higher risk of being questioned. This applies even to U.S. citizens. A Senate report from late last year documented multiple cases where U.S. citizens were detained by ICE due to administrative errors or mistaken identity. So, whether you are a naturalized citizen who has been here for 40 years, a green card holder, or a visitor on a visa, you need to know that the person checking your boarding pass is now a law enforcement officer looking for immigration violations. But here is the empowering news. The law protects you. You have rights that cannot be suspended just because the DHS budget is frozen. The Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution protects every person on American soil, citizen and non-citizen alike, from unreasonable searches and seizures. An ICE agent cannot stop you, detain you, or arrest you without probable cause. Simply being at an airport is not probable cause. Simply looking nervous because the line is long is not probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. If an ICE agent approaches you in the ticket line and asks, "Where were you born?" or "What is your status?" you are not legally required to answer. You can politely refuse. Unless you are being formally detained, you have the right to walk away. For a domestic flight, the only document you are legally required to show to get through security is a valid government-issued photo ID. You do not have to show a passport, a green card, or a visa to fly from New York to Florida. However, there is a complication. Since late 2025, the TSA has been sharing passenger manifest lists with ICE to cross-check against criminal and immigration databases. This means that in some cases, the agents may already have a list of people they are looking for before those people even arrive at the airport. If you have an outstanding removal order, a deportation order, an active warrant, or certain criminal convictions on your record, ICE could be waiting specifically for you. Based on this complex and volatile situation, I have compiled a list of 5 critical steps that every senior, every immigrant, and every concerned traveler needs to take before heading to the airport this week. Step number 1. Carry proof of status. In normal times, I might tell you to leave your important papers in a safe at home. These are not normal times. If you are a green card holder, lawful permanent resident, federal law technically requires you to carry your green card with you at all times anyway. This week, ensure you have it in your wallet. If you are a naturalized citizen, I strongly recommend traveling with your U.S. passport card or book, even for domestic flights. If you are on a visa, carry your passport, your I-94 record, and your approval notices. If you are questioned, being able to produce proof of legal status immediately can resolve the situation in seconds. You do not want to be stuck in a detention room while they try to look you up in a database that might be slow or offline due to the shutdown. Step number 2, memorize your constitutional rights. I want you to write these down or save them in your phone. There are 3 phrases that act as a shield. No agent can punish you for using them. Phrase 1, am I being detained or am I free to go? This clarifies the encounter. If they say you are not detained, you can leave the conversation. Phrase 2, I am choosing to exercise my right to remain silent. This protects you from answering incriminating questions about your history or status. Phrase 3, I would like to speak to a lawyer. If they detain you, say this immediately. Do not sign anything. Do not answer questions. Wait for counsel. These rights apply to everyone. The Constitution does not ask for your papers before it protects you. Step number 3, the super early arrival strategy. We usually say arrive 2 hours early. Forget that. With the combination of TSA walkouts and the potential confusion caused by ICE deployments, you need a massive buffer. For domestic flights, arrive 3 to 4 hours early. For international flights, arrive 5 hours early. I know this is difficult for seniors. Standing for 4 hours is physically exhausting. If you have mobility issues, you must pre-arrange wheelchair assistance with your airline, but be warned. The attendants who push wheelchairs also have to go through security, and they are short-staffed too. Bring a folding cane seat if you have one. Bring your medications. Bring water. Prepare for a marathon, not a sprint. Step number 4, the private security loophole. Did you know that not every airport uses federal TSA screeners? About 20 airports in the U.S. participate in the Screening Partnership Program. They use private security companies to run the checkpoints. These employees are not federal workers. They are getting paid. They are not striking. And because their operations are normal, ICE is less likely to be deployed there in large numbers. The biggest one is San Francisco International, SFO. Others include Kansas City International, MCI, Orlando Sanford, SFB, and smaller regional hubs like Atlantic City. If you have the flexibility to drive a little further to one of these airports or to route your connecting flight through them, do it. It could save you hours of standing in line and avoid the stress of the ICE deployment entirely. Check the full list online before you book. Step number 5, the legal safety check. If you have any unresolved immigration issue, a pending case that is messy, a prior arrest from years ago, an old deportation order you aren't sure was cleared, or a visa that is about to expire, do not go to the airport without talking to a lawyer. I am serious. The president's directive was explicit. Arrest undocumented immigrants. The airport is now a high-risk environment for anyone with a vulnerability in their file. An immigration attorney can look at your specific situation and tell you if it is safe to fly or if you should stay home until the shutdown ends. Let's take a step back and consider the broader picture here. What we are witnessing is the unprecedented merging of two distinct missions: aviation security and immigration enforcement. The TSA was created after 9/11 with one specific job: keep bombs and weapons off planes. ICE was created with a different job: enforce immigration laws. Mixing them in the chaotic, high-stress environment of a failing airport terminal creates a volatile cocktail. A grandmother with a green card shouldn't have to worry about being interrogated about her history while she's trying to visit her grandkids. A naturalized citizen with an accent shouldn't feel intimidated by tactical teams while trying to get to a business meeting. But House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries warned today on CNN that the last thing the American people need is for untrained ICE agents to be deployed at airports. Even Republican Senator John Kennedy gave a cautious answer, suggesting ICE might help with crowds but shouldn't be screening. Here's what you need to watch for in the coming days. Tomorrow, Monday, March 24th, is day 1. We will see the agents appear. We don't know exactly which airports will get the most agents, but Homan stated the priority is the hubs with the longest lines: Atlanta, Houston, New York, Los Angeles, Miami, and Chicago. If you are flying through these cities, be on high alert. Bipartisan negotiations are still happening in Washington, but they are moving slowly. The two sides are stuck on the issue of judicial warrants and the mask ban for agents. Senators are pushing for a deal before the Easter recess at the end of the week, but if they fail, the TSA officers will miss another paycheck on Friday, March 28th. If that happens, the system could collapse entirely, leading to full airport closures. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy delivered a chilling warning on Friday. He said, "These are going to be good days compared to what is going to happen a week from now. This will look like child's play. That is a warning we cannot ignore." I want to leave you with this final thought. The airport you walk into tomorrow will look different from any airport you have seen in America before. There will be frustration. There will be confusion. There will be armed agents in tactical gear standing where customer service agents used to be. But you have an advantage that most people in that line do not have: information. You know why they are there. You know what they can and cannot do. You know what documents to have in your hand. And you know your rights. That is not fear, that is preparation. And preparation is the most powerful tool you have to protect yourself and your family. Please share this update with everyone you know. Send it to your elderly parents, your friends on work visas, and your neighbors who are naturalized citizens. The information in this video could protect someone you love from a terrible experience. This is U.S. Green Card Signal. I will be monitoring the deployment hour by hour. As soon as we have reports from the ground about exactly what is happening at the checkpoints, I will bring that to you. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the alert. Stay informed, stay calm, and travel safe. I will see you in the next update.